Hello and welcome to Trends with LJE, where we dissect the issues shaping national discourse. I am Maimuna Zubair, and today we explored urgent national developments, from the firestorm surrounding the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME to the call for justice over MKO Abiola's unpaid entitlements, fresh killings in Benue and Plateau states, and so much more. Of course, I'm not alone in the studio. Joining me to unpack these are public policy analyst Chidi Iloameke and development strategist Mr. Shedrack Oka. Now, Chidi stood in for me on Wednesday. Yeah. How was it?
Very big shoes to fill, but I did my best.
He did well, right?
He did try.
All right, so it's just us in the studio. Dr. Chris is unavoidably absent. Let's get into it. We begin with the latest outcry over the 2025 UTME. Amid lawsuits and protest threats, JAMB has admitted technical failures affected results in 157 centers, mostly in Lagos and Owerri. In a related development, 19-year-old Opesusi Timilehin tragically ended her life after scoring 190, just minutes before JAMB issued her a provisional admission. In a related twist, the University of Nigeria Nsukka branch of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, is alleging systemic bias targeting candidates from the Southeast. JAMB's registrar, Professor Oleyede, has apologized, taking personal responsibility. Gentlemen, Shedrack, I'm coming to you first on this. We talked about the UTME mass results and the low grades, I think on Monday.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the week, we have a twist in the story. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, if you remember vividly, that very day, the moment JAM released the results and we had it analyzed on this studio, I, for one, said, I do not believe the outcome of that result is a reflection of the performance of our students. I believe something was wrong. And I said so. Thank God JAM admitted something was wrong. But beyond, I want to call on the parents to be a little bit calm and patient, let them hold on to their lawsuit. Thankfully, the CEO of JAM, the registrar, Professor Ishak, had admitted there were technical glitches. Beyond his tears, actually, a lot needs to be done. I don't want them, I think JAM is hasty in their conclusion to say Lagos and the Southeast zone alone, because I know a lot of students here in Abuja who also had queried about 15 questions being absent from their scripts,
right.
Some 25 questions from 10. Yet they graded them over 100. So what makes for those losses? So I think I would advise JAM to make a receipt for any student who feel that you got lower than what you ought to get. That, for me, will be the justice, not just to limit it to Southeast Zone and Lagos Center alone. And also for the ASU branch of, the Nsukka branch of ASU, that, allege that it was a deliberate attempt, to undermine that zone. Well, what will you say? We just barely finished from one technical glitch from INEC, where we saw the controversy surrounding the results. As it turned out, House of Reps, Senate, and Presidency were casted on same ballot. Yet, result was delivered from Senate and House of Reps, and Presidency was not, because it was a Southeasterner that was the victim. So I wouldn't blame them for raising that up, but I would say they all should be calm. And I advise the expert advising JAM to also advise them adequately, so that that exam should be retaken by as many who feel that they were, saw change. That's my advice.
This is very, this would have just been something where we can just say systemic failure. But then we have a dimension which includes the tragic loss of life, where a young girl took her life over this. And we don't even know if she was victim to the glitch, but just the sorrow of having to study, fail. We've all gone through, that whole thing. And putting her in mental turmoil. She's 19. What does this say about even the mental health dimensions of education? And I also want to hear from you specifically on the Southeast accusations. I mean, we've had so many talks on this table about Southeasterners being a bit sidelined and marginalized from special political issues and discourse. We talked about the census committee a couple of weeks ago. You've just brought up the example of the elections and now here. So even when it is alleged, because of antecedents, it seems like you have no choice but to agree with these alleged allegations. So I would like to hear your thoughts, Chidi, on this, on the tragic loss of life and what you think about ASU's, UNN's claims regarding the allegation and their plans to sue, if they're valid.
Because we see them in the media, which is why we talk about this. You know, lots of people have lost their lives in the past. It's a product of government inefficiency, institutional capability to do worse things. You know, Nigeria's institutional capabilities to do worse things. And people lose their lives on a daily basis. Not just ASU. I mean, not just JAM.
Not just JAM.
Issue, you know, the issue of JAM. No, it goes beyond that. But on that, you know, JAM needs to compensate the family. The government needs to compensate this family that have been identified. And more families should come forward. It's just beyond Timileyin.
Right.
There are lots of people who have lost their lives, you know. And you ask yourself questions like, at the end of the day, when these students graduate from school, very poorly funded schools, there are no jobs for them. It's not like they are going through this painful moment to be shown the paradise or the promised land. They're going to be shown fire. There's nothing there. So it's important. And talking about the marginalization for the Southeast, I would say that it's like preaching to the choir. You know, it's a recurrent phenomenon. We keep seeing it. In the Buhari administration, we saw that marginalization happened. You know, we saw the North being taken care of, you know, in terms of appointments, the favored the North. This time it was a Milokon, and it was the turn of, you know, himself and now his people, the Yorubas. And it's not just about Yorubas per se, because how many Yorubas are even there? But majorly, when you see there's no respect for the constitution, there's no respect for federal character principle.
Absolutely.
You know, so, and when you see these things happening, and a large chunk of them are from the Southeast, affected, you know, like he mentioned, it's hasty, but even at that hastiness, we'll come to conclude that it's even the Southeasterners that are affected, even Lagos are affected. But then the other part I want to also mention is the issue of our infrastructure, ICT infrastructural deficit.
Right.
It is at a very low margin. We need to invest money in our ICT.
Absolutely.
I can tell you, for instance, the issue of JAM happened. All of these stories happened when JAM migrated into computer-based tests. When it was paper-based, we didn't hear those things. It was something like that. So Nigeria, we should not be like US overnight. We should not be like Europe overnight.
Right.
We are not even giant of Africa. Please, let's humble ourselves and go back to paper-based and save ourselves this trauma. When we are ready, let's come forward.
Absolutely.
And they should address this thing. There should be a national discussion, conversation. Currently, National Assembly is probing this matter.
Right.
You know, currently, yes. And currently also, I want to also applaud the INEC,
Registrar.
JAM registrar. He did very well, you know, to come forward. It's a lot, honestly, it's a lot on himself. So I applaud him. But then
Do you think he should resign?
Not at all. I think he did very well. Something that was usually very lacking among our leadership, to take ownership and responsibility, accountability. He did very well. But let me, in 30 seconds, please. There's something we missed that I thought my colleague was going to make out for us. The aspect of families putting pressures on their children. I, for once, had to be a victim of near suicide over examination failure. One of the best exams I've ever prepared myself was 2000 GCE. I'd prepared, staying with my uncle that was a prof. He came back and said, Shedra, bring out your script. And I wrote everything down. I remember vividly mathematics, I got about 97. But when that result came out, I got F9 parallel in all my 9 subjects. I never believed it. I almost took my life. That was some 25 years ago. So when you see this thing happening, I have a father who said, it's either you come first or you get lost. So if you come second, you don't want to go home. So parents should please not put such much pressures on their children.
Absolutely.
This has to do with family. You cannot blame the examiners for such failure and that lady taking her life. Please, our parents should look out for children. Failure is not the end of it. So that children will not go this route. I have been there before, so I can say pressure from the families.
And then very quickly,
We have to move
just very quickly, please, so move forward, please. Is the fact that JAM needs to please display publicly the result of everybody that they feel are not affected, and give us the marking criteria so that they can match it. And then for me, that will help their image further. And anybody that feels this should be what they do to Boko Haram. They should do that to Nigerian citizens. They should be there should be a reparation for what they've done. They should be, so that everybody that sat for the exams, as many as you sat for, that feel dissatisfied, should come and not even redress, should come and receipt, and they should be well taken care of.
Absolutely. All right. Moving forward, former Jigawa Governor Sule Lamido has reignited the conversation around June 12th, urging President Tinubu to pay the 45 billion naira allegedly owed to late MKO Abiola, who won the 1993 election but was denied the presidency. He made a statement at the recent launch of his book, saying that Abiola was doubly punished, robbed of the presidency, and now still owed by the states. Lamido argues that payment would help close a painful chapter in Nigeria's democratic evolution. Chidi, I don't know why I'm smiling. This just feels like somebody just saying something. But I would like to hear, is there any symbolic or reconciliatory value to paying reparations, basically, to the Abiola estate or family in his absentia or posthumously, as it were? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, for me, it's political posturing.
Right.
The optics are clear. You just want to. I don't want to go beyond that. But more importantly, what should happen now is let us see how the government can, if that can be. The problem we have in this country is when people make statements like this, and the government goes silent.
Right.
Is not addressed.
Right.
It should be addressed. If truly Abiola is being owed, there should be an apology to the family, and something should be done such that they ensure that the money gets to the family and represent. And then you should also let us. We should also know that we are owing a lot of people, not just Abiola's family. A lot of people, and it doesn't tell well on ourselves. And,
Right.
And then the question is: the labor of our heroes past, is it in vain? The former presidential candidate of Labour Party, Mr. Peter, said yes, it's in vain, and I agree with him that it is in vain when you look at what is happening today, and you now ask yourself, why will Tinubu change the national anthem to say the labour of our heroes past shall never be in vain? Because he knows it's in vain. He agreed with Peter Obi. That was why he removed it. And if you go further down, so help me God. There is no so help me God. There is no so. It's appalling. It is appalling. Why will a man who has national acceptance across board, from the north to the east, who was going to unite people across the Niger to foster a true democracy for Africa? By now, we should be talking about this. And somebody had to write a book to bring down his image in person of IBB. But leaving that, I think something needs to be done. So Lamido is good. People should come forward to say, to explain to us who federal governments are owing, because it's important. Look at what is happening with the amount we save from subsidies removal, and there's nothing to show for it.
Right.
There's hunger in the land and everything. So, and then INEC has done its best to give us a very poor elections, and then INEC is now apologizing. The chairman of INEC is working.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing.
Freely.
And let me come to you, Shadrach. We're talking about the potential of beginning to make financial compensation a way to address historical injustices. It could be argued that has been, covered by making a decision to make June 12th our new Democracy Day. Would you not say that is enough? Would you not say that there is no need to add money? I'm worried that if we start this, it starts a precedent that we will not be able to follow through.
Me, I am even more worried. But somehow I feel very compensated in my mind, in my thought, because the book title of that autobiography is True to Myself.
True to Myself.
I want to say that the governor Lamido is saying true to himself.
It's his own truth.
His own truth, not necessarily true to the country, because Abiola is such a big name, a friend to the government. 50 years passed because he had to code during Murtala Muhammad as at the time where that debt was being incurred. 50 years, a chartered accountant who ruled an empire in Africa, yet nobody mentioned it. Nobody said anything about it. Obasanjo, his kingsman, took over from Murtala Muhammad. Nobody ever mentioned it. 45 billion naira, 50 years ago. Come on.
I mean, adjust for inflation.
And it just had to take someone writing a book about it for people to say. But I want to say, if you want that as a compensation, a lot has been done to compensate for June 12. First of all, the Yorubas, the Southwesterners, were gifted the presidency in 1999, June 12. The celebrated Democracy Day was changed from May 29 to June 12. National Monument, National Stadium was given to MKO Abiola. Title of the GCFR was restored to him. What more? Abiola is not only the only person that the country is owing and have been indebted to.
Absolutely.
I want to say that his life lost is one. You cannot say that for the same as Southeasterner that lost over 3 million people. We are talking about repatriation.
Absolutely.
We are talking about compensation.
Absolutely.
What do you equate that to? Please, while it is okay if truly the federal government owe that to him, but I want to say it is something that when we start, we will not finish.
Absolutely.
Just like Chidi said, there are a whole lot of people that the government is owing. Even now, soldiers have lost their life every day in the fight against insurgency. Who pays for that? So please, that should be a closed chapter as far as I'm concerned. If there is any truth to be done for the Abiola family, recognize him as a winner, or as you have recognized him, then compensate him as being the president for what he lost. I am even more worried that the election that have been touted the most free and fairest election being June 12. But when it came to the aspect of compensating the man, immortalizing the man who conducted that election because he's coming from his zone, the Southeast, people like Senator, former governor of Edo State, Shomole, shamefully said the man did not do well.
Right.
And it worries me a lot that this media propaganda to stereotype certain people and elevate certain people over others should be done with in this country.
Absolutely.
We must not inherit the hatred and bitterness of the people that were born before independence. This is a new Nigeria. Whether you are a Muslim or a Christian, you are from the Southeast or Southwest, we don't want to inherit the shenanigans of the past.
Absolutely.
This is a new era. Nigerians' life all equal. Fulani or Ibibiu, we are all the same.
Absolutely.
They should be done with compensation for the MKO Abiola's family.
Said.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
Okay.
We'll take a short break now. When we return, fresh violence in the Middle Belt raises questions about the federal government's new National Guard plan and the rejection of the rotational presidency bill by lawmakers. Stay with us.
As a people and members of LJE Green Community, we share a deeper commitment to protect not only our environment, but also the rights and dignity of all individuals within our reach. Every day, we are faced with responsibility to uphold human dignity. If you see something happening around you, do not turn blind eye. We must act because that's where our role as ambassadors come in. Being an ambassador doesn't require any superpower. It requires awareness, compassion, and the willingness to speak up. If you see something, say something. It's our duty to stand up for justice and amplify the voices of those who can't speak for themselves. One voice can spark a movement, and together we can create a nation that values human life. You can reach us on 070-5236-8821 or visit our website at www.ljenigeria.org to report a violation. Remember, if you see something, say something.
Welcome back. The program is still Trends with LJE. Over 23 lives have been lost in coordinated attacks across Benue and Plateau states, reportedly by herdsmen and militants. In response, President Tinubu has approved the recruitment of 130,000 armed National Forest Guards to secure Nigeria's 1,129 forests. This aligns with the Operation Free the Bush initiative by the LJE and the upcoming LJE National Conference, aiming to tackle insecurity through policy, advocacy, and grassroots mobilization. I'm very curious about this recent development. Even cattle were lost. So this was not just the usual, the herders went in there and murdered people and got away with it. I think there was a fight back. It was an actual clash. Yeah. They lost about 40 cattle from the news reports on this developing story. So I'm very curious to hear what we think on how much validity is there to these new forest guards that they are coming to bring to help with the terrorism and herder issue in the country. 130,000, is that enough? For our 1,000 forests. Some of them, you can't even see the sky. I don't know if this is more, prevarication that doesn't necessarily do anything. I want to start with you, Chidi. What are your thoughts on this?
First of all, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to guide our forest. Is it from mosquitoes?
I mean, they will be kitted with.
I'm just asking a rhetorical question. Is it from mosquitoes? Are we trying to fight the wind? Is it climate change? Even climate change action is not even enough to fight, climate change. Anyway, that's by the way, very lightly. But the truth is, it's a joke. It's a joke for somebody who I'm talking about the person of the president and his team, who has supposedly should use a magical wand to change Nigeria to become like Lagos. Unfortunately, is a very big joke. Right. Now, the question is this. What are the trainings? It's multiplicity of functions. We have the armed forces. We have the Navy.
We have vigilantes now.
We have the Air Force. We have local vigilantes. We have NCDC. I say NCDC, National Security and Civil Defense Corps, And then we have so many. We have the customs. We have the immigration, we have these, we have forces. For me, it's an avenue to steal money, to embezzle money. Where are the drones? The most important thing there is, where is the political will? There is no political will to fight insecurity in this country. Take it, leave it. There is a collusion between the authorities, the security forces, and the terrorists. They work together. As quoted by former Army Chief T.Y. Danjuma. Right. They work together. Apart from that, we've seen videos. We've seen even Air Force men, Army officers, military officers, crying and begging to be well armed. Beaten and tied by terrorists in our own land. There's no territorial integrity in our nation. We cannot even protect and police our borders. It is an impeachable offense. The House of Assembly and Senate, they should do their job. I'm not calling for the impeachment of Tinubu, but he should know that this is an impeachable offense. It's appalling that you're telling me forest guards. How many days training? Where were they trained?
No, they are just beginning recruitment, so they don't have.
It is not enough. We don't have enough.
They have not constituted any forest guards yet. But they will be recruiting soon.
I want to say something.
The cap number is 130.
I want to say something, please. Sorry, I'm taking your time, but very quickly, we have bandits, Boko Haram members, who have been caught, established that they are bandits, and they've been given amnesty. And they come back to the society. Right?
Right.
Why not go and recruit those people? Because there are many of them. Let them join and fight themselves. Why not go and discuss our security architecture, re-strategize, and ensure that the funding, because the security does not need more funding. We've had enough funding already. And are they really ready to fight this insecurity? Look, let me tell you, if you want insecurity to end this evening, before we leave this studio, let the president's son, I'm not saying Tinubu's, I'm not saying before they'll come and beat me here, but I'm saying let the president's son, I don't know the president. I'm not saying, I don't know the president. So any president's son, Trump's son should be kidnapped in Nigeria. Netanyahu's son, the Russian president's son, should be kidnapped in Nigeria, I'll tell you the truth, insecurity will end.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Shadrach, I want to tie your response, and I'm going to make my question tie it in. I want to know what you think about this situation in general, and I also want to know your thoughts on the initiatives that are coming in, when apart from even this LJE's own initiative, there are so many other people that are advocating for alternative measures into looking into the insecurity issue, as it is so peculiar to us. It is different from any other type of issue that other people are facing in terms of insecurity. We are having issue with farmers and their cattle. So I want to hear, do you think that the creation of a forest guard corps will effectively counter rural insecurity?
May, do you want me to say the truth, or you want me to be politically correct?
No, I would like to hear your thoughts. As far as it's just your thoughts, whether they're politically correct or not, I would just like to hear it. And I would also want to know, do you see synergy? He mentioned something about redundancy. Advocating between, I feel, is it okay for civil societies like LJE to come in? It is beginning to look like government cannot handle this alone. And can there be a meeting point between government and civil societies to thwart this issue? For instance, like this Operation Free the Bush initiative that is ongoing with the LJE, and so many other small, unheard of advocacy that is going on across the country regarding this specific security issue.
No doubt it will be a plausible, initiative if the private sector, especially NGOs and CSOs, will come in with their brilliant initiative to collaborate with the government to defeat insecurity in our country. But if you want to hear the truth, we don't have problem with numbers. We don't have problem with machines. We don't have problem with training or with our soldiers. They are well capable, well trained to defeat insurgency within 30 days. The truth is, I remember Babachi Lawa, the former Secretary of the Government of the Federation. He made a statement, who is the presidency, when they say he should resign. Say, who is the presidency? That question is a very huge question.
It's loaded,
Who is the presidency? We have a sitting governor, former governor, Emmanuel of Akwa Ibom State, Udom Emmanuel, who caught some, Asaland with AK-47 in his state. They were rounded up, arrested, and submitted to the police commissioner. Police commissioner said he got an order from above who said they should be released and AK-47 should be handed over to them. Who is giving that order from above? Who is the presidency is that question. It is very weighty. We had a president who campaign and say, recruit them 50 million into the soldier army, what they will eat, corn, do, and all of those things.
Right.
Today, where is he? There is no problem with our numbers. The problem has always been unraveling those terrorists inside the government, terrorists inside our military, who tip and give information to these people and to be mocking our soldiers, killing our children up. And I can tell you, even the military published one time ago, over 2 million cattle have been rustled. Because these terrorists are within our forests. They come together, they rustle these cattle for them to feed, and they supply them weapons even in broad daylight. But where is the political will to pick these people up? So there is something very wrong. No matter like LJE now is proposing the Operation Free the Bush, which is a very laudable initiative. I learned from inwardly that the Nigerian defense is also doing something about securing our forests. All these initiatives, the government can buy into it. I can tell you, on paper, it looks very clinical. But I can tell you, so long as there is a collaboration between saboteurs within the military, it can not with the government.
Absolutely. Sobering thoughts. And finally, the House of Reps has turned down a bill proposing rotational presidency among Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones. Lawmakers cited federal character principles and party-based zoning practices as reasons for rejecting constitutional entrenchment of rotation. Shadrach, I'm coming to you because we have mentioned this, I think, off camera before. Is this a missed opportunity for inclusive governance? I want to hear your thoughts. Is this a wise rejection of tokenism, or is there merit to this rejection?
there is no merit to the rejection. Somehow, when I listen to the debates, especially coming from, the minority leader and also Erufai's son, Bello, I saw some of the argument, they say, very lame. Lame because one of them, Erufai's son, quoted that in doing that, it is going to be a kind of self-sabotaging.
Right.
Yeah, and it is not, it will do ill to the country or so. And painted a picture where what if the president dies? Will you compel the vice president? All of those things are taken care of by the Constitution, the doctrine of necessity. But why I said it is, it's going to be a very and of course, we have to revisit that. It has to be enshrined. Because I think one of them quoted and said those things have been taken care of by internal party mechanism.
Right.
When he suit politicians, they will mention that the parties, should resolve it internally. Where it doesn't suit them, they will go to court. I can tell you that for me, rotational presidency should be enshrined in our constitution. There is no zone in this country that you cannot find 10 people at a time competent with capacity to rule this country. There is no zone.
Absolutely.
Whether it is the south, northeast, or is it the southwest that should be lacking of 20 people to rule Nigeria? Is it the south-south? Or is it the north-central?
Right.
Or is it the northeast or northwest? That is not a problem. I think rotational presidency will even help us to heal, for inclusive fairness and even justice to be fought. For me, it should be enshrined in the Constitution. Yes.
Chidi, you were already smiling before
Yeah,
I came to
because before you ask me, maybe you do the question you want to ask. Let it be a second question, but I want to quickly. add
Okay,
something.
my question is just simply,
Okay.
would institutionalizing rotation foster national unity or harden ethnic divisions? Because we're looking at this thing from a bird's eye view, but
Yeah.
when it comes down to executing it and actualizing it, we could really see some negatives that we did not envisage.
You talked about national unity.
Right.
The most important question for me, it's not even national unity per se, because national unity is a product of something. Don't just come unite. You just say, hey, let's unite. Everybody unite and gather.
Right.
Unite to do what?
And
Yes.
to move the country forward.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's beautiful. It's one, but it's not just national unity and you preach it and you have papers rendered and you have somebody come on TV and tell us national unity. National unity is a product of perception. It's a thing of the mind.
Right.
And the human mind is conditioned when things are working well. For instance, in the US, that Tinubu and his people in the administration of Tinubu would use as a yardstick.
Yeah, it's taken.
Do they have it enshrined in their constitution? That there should be rotational presidency? Even though,
Well, they're more homogeneous than we are.
They are not as you think.
Well,
They are not as you think,
in a way.
because we have 50
in a way.
In the US has over, okay.
They have
now,
majority whites.
Now, let me tell you, do you know that even California and Washington don't share the same time zone?
Okay.
It's about 3 hours difference.
Right.
Just in California and Washington. So it's a very big, we're talking about, look.
Countries in
when,
the country.
when you're trying to make comparison, please, let's just not go there.
Yeah.
But the thing is that as big as the US is, they don't have this. The most important thing Nigeria needs, and look, take it anywhere. If you want to rotate, okay, how do you want to rotate? Is it by zone?
By political zones, yes.
How? North Central, Northeast, Northwest. Are you living, okay, Middle Belt? How many states in Middle Belt?
6 or
North
7.
Central, how is it going to go? Okay, within that North
Within
Central,
that
how would they
zone,
now?
they will
Okay,
pick
within
one.
Southeast, how would they pick within?
There will be
Anybody who's
the
qualified.
moment
Anyway,
the
there is
moment
no-
that is entrenched
Look,
in
there
the
is no- there is
constitution.
no- look,
we'll
let's
figure out a way.
Figure out that is
But-
exactly how INEC changed this in midway. Look, that will not help. It will not help.
Right.
What we need to do is to live, whether you want that one or not. That's not my position personally is that we should live by the rule of law.
Right.
Whether it's a Yoruba man, we have good people in Yoruba. We have good people in Igbo. We have good people in Efik. We have good people everywhere. Even Fulanis will have good, very good people. In fact, one of the best kind of straightforward persons you find are Fulanis. Very firm and straightforward. And then you see corrupt people everywhere. And they're there in government. They're in every tribe, you find them.
Right.
The most important thing is let us live by the dictates, by what our forefathers of this nation, the heroes past, the Constitution. Let us live by rule of law.
I mean, we've talked about how if you talk about the Constitution, it also leads us to another dimension of conversation, because there have always been arguments about this Constitution that we're using.
No, what I'm trying to say, when I mean the Constitution, I'm talking about living
as an entity, as opposed to let
our institutions
right
be strong and independent. Let INEC, because INEC is Dependent National Electoral Commission, not Independent National Electoral Commission. INEC is not independent; they are dependent
on
those that can pay them off.
Right.
Do you understand? So INEC should be independent. The judiciary should be independent, and Lady Justice, the symbol of justice, should truly be blind, and not Nigeria justice like this. So one eye is seeing the bourgeoisie, and then when you are asleep, Lady Justice will just remove her, and she will see you very well. So this is important, that it needs to be done. If this is done, nobody will cry foul.
Absolutely.
Nnamdi Kanu that has been held in hostage,
in custody.
In hostage, because he's not in custody. He was kidnapped. And look, Nnamdi Kanu that has been held. Why was Nnamdi Kanu and the so-called an IPOB agitation? Because a particular group was marginalized. Tinubu, Buhari told you that 74, he will give 5% attention to, you heard that after he won the election, very, very poor, very
not good,
discouraging. So, do you understand? So, it is because of marginalization, because of the marginalization of the not middle belt, of the oil producing states that brought about 30% derivation.
Right.
It was that marginalization that brought about the coming in of Jonathan, Goodluck Jonathan. It was that marginalization that brought in all of these things, perceived marginalization, and that we see them every day.
Right.
The North does not own oil wells, but the oil wells are the oils are not drilled in their states,
right,
and they own oil wells, and people are shouting marginalization. There's marginalization in education. Look at the admission
quotas. Right.
Is it supposed to happen? So this marginalization, if we can take care of it, nobody will talk about rotational. There's only rotation about it. Even among parents, even among families, you have issues with your younger brother who you will not, and then you go to your father to settle. So is that going to solve our problems? If it's going to be your family, rotate among families, it won't solve problems. It has never solved problems. What will solve problems is rule of law and independence of the judiciary.
Absolutely.
And let us live by the dictates of our office. If that can be done, fine. Then by now, INEC chairman Mahmood Yakubu should be in jail.
Wow,
yes.
Well said. And that's all we have time for on today's episode of Trends with LJE. A big thank you to our discussants. As always, you guys give so much feedback. I'm really grateful for you. And of course, the audience for listening in, watching in, and sharing your contributions. We encourage constructive civic dialogue. Let's continue to demand better while building stronger systems. I am Maimuna Hoyes as a buyer. See you next time.